Okay, betrayals. This is a move. This is a meeting about betrayal.
Happy betrayals to you until we meet again. Happy betrayals to you.
Well done, Greg. Well
Keep
done.
talking up until then.
You should be a musical. He is a musical, can't you tell?
I'm a walking show.
And besides for his betrayal,
He breaks into song.
That's a good title for a skit, you know, for a improv skit. Happy betrayals.
okay.
Ben Kingsley and Jeremy Irons made a script by Harold Pinter called Betrayal.
Oh yeah, Harold Pinter's, that's a famous one. They're actually doing it on Broadway right now with James Bond, what's his name? The blonde guy, Craig, Daniel Craig, and his girlfriend Rachel Weisz.
Wow.
And another guy, I forgot his name. He's not as well known.
We must get tickets.
We must see it. A must-see show. Along with the Book of Mormon.
Okay. Betrayals are often based on non-action. They have to do with what people don't do. Usually, like famous betrayals are, you know, of course, you know, Benedict Arnold and so on. But often betrayals are just, you know, things where somebody could help but didn't.
Yeah.
Those are the garden variety betrayals, are where people could help and didn't help.
It's like they have a relationship that's part of the relationship. They support each other. And then they just don't. Like they don't come through for you, as people say.
Which everybody in the world has that relationship with everybody else in the world, actually.
Yeah.
So are you saying it's lack of doing the right thing in the moment? Sort of?
That is often what a betrayal is. It's just you could have done something and didn't do it. Also, betrayals are usually based on weakness. Now, the famous betrayals are like...
Me too, Brutus.
Yeah. And, you know, it's a $64 question. Was Brutus weak? Was Brutus a weak person? And is that why he betrayed Caesar? Or did he do it because he had very firmly held convictions and he was going with them? Well, watch the movie Rome. You know, the series, it's a TV miniseries. It went for 2 seasons. And you watch all the things that Brutus goes through, and you get an idea of what it's like. And of course, Brutus is this young guy. You know, he's a kid. He's like 25. He is in a...
For that time, he was a grown man.
Yeah, well, 25 is a grown man, and in fact, 15 was a grown man for Rome. But he's still very uncertain and struggling, and he loves Julius Caesar. He loves...
Not to sound gross, but it seems to me that the garden variety is based on cover your ass.
Yep, that's
Pick
right.
the side that's going to win because somebody's going to lose. It's always about covering your ass or what's going to benefit me.
Very good.
And but the more aggressive version is what can I get from me out of this? Like Jesus, Judas.
Very good.
Yeah, that was a deliberate, that wasn't just
Well,
protecting
actually,
himself.
Judas is too complicated for us to discuss in this class. But what I was thinking of was the Count of Monte Cristo. You know, the people that betrayed the Count of Monte Cristo, you know, they were all trying to do exactly what you're talking about. Like, none of them, people usually don't want to do their betrayals.
But they're encouraged to be their truth or their convictions, and when they see the ship going down, they'll protect themselves. And that's when betrayal comes in, most in mass form.
That's right. Well said, Karen. Well said. You have a deep understanding of this subject.
I've done it quite often, against my better judgment.
You have been a betrayer.
A future soul song.
You have been a betrayer. Barb, the light is behind you. So, that being said, let's take a specific person. How about Anna Gloria? Who I think most everybody here knows Anna Gloria. Now, did she betray you? Just test it. Did Anna Gloria betray me? Meaning you, Ross or Barb or whoever.
Yes.
Barb?
No, but
Greg?
I got no.
I got yes.
Okay, I got no. Now,
I got no also.
who did Anna Gloria betray for sure? Anybody got any ideas?
herself.
Herself, yeah.
Herself, her husband.
I knew everybody was going to say herself, her husband.
Yes, of course.
Not the answer I'm looking for. Come on, move on. Who else?
How about her husband?
There's somebody that's a student she was working with. I don't know who it
The
is.
people out there that she's not going to work with now, all the other people that
Yes.
we're looking for.
Yes, she betrayed all the people she agreed to help.
Yeah.
Didn't betray me. I cured Mom. Okay, I'm fine. I don't need anything from her.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people who needed something from her, and she knew what it was and knew she could give it and agreed to give it. But even if she didn't agree to give it, let's talk about somebody else. Ross doesn't remember this person because you weren't around. But Barb, Greg, and Franny remember Alan Hutner.
Oh, yeah.
A New Age talk show host in Santa Fe who charged us to be exposed for exposure on his show. Greg paid him $2,000.
No way.
And
Is that true?
and we got nothing for it.
Wow. Wow. I didn't know that.
Is he still around, Barb?
Oh, yeah.
I'll find him. What's his last name?
I don't know how.
Alan Hutner and Elizabeth Rose, they live in El Dorado, and they have a show every Saturday. I didn't know we
Alan
paid him.
Hutner.
Paid me.
I don't know
yeah.
how much it was, but Byron said it.
Jeez. Yeah. Ooh, I found some money. Just found a bunch of people. Look at I just found.
We paid so much for ads that they were putting on their show and for having us on the show.
So, yeah, I bet he betrayed you, yeah.
Now, I was on one of the last times, the very last times I ever talked to Alan Hutner. Barb and Janice were on the phone with Alan Hutner and me. And Alan Hutner was saying that he had the flu. Do you remember this, Barb? You were trying to show him how to cure the flu?
I've talked to him since then, but go ahead. I don't know if I remember. He might be confusing him with Diego Rivera. I mean, Diego Mulligan, but
No, it was Alan Hutner had the flu,
Yeah, he's always sick and has problems.
and you and Aunt Janice were trying to show him, and he could not cure the flu.
Okay?
And he was not trying very hard to get a signal, and I noticed that he had never, after all that time and having us on his show and everything else, he had never learned to cure anything.
Right. His wife did.
Mm-hmm. So now, what is the betrayal?
All the people who listen to his show.
That's who he betrayed, but what
What's
did he
the
do?
betrayal?
How did he betray?
Promising and not delivering.
No.
On all accounts, not just the money.
Yeah, but he didn't learn.
Yes, that's right, Barb, that's right. His betrayal is that it was his responsibility as a journalist to actually find out if this is real.
Yeah.
Right.
He gave up.
He wasn't a journalist, he's more just a reporter saying...
And he did not find out that it was real.
The betrayal was started before the fact that he didn't give up. He had already judged it, is what I'm getting.
Right. He didn't. Well,
And that's not a good journalist. He's a sensationalist.
Could I ask everybody, I want you to all think about this. How would Alan Hutner benefit from not knowing what this is or that it cures things? How would he benefit from that?
Because it makes
He could be responsible about what he says about it when he does report it.
What were you going to say, Barb?
Well, it somehow validates all these others, like strange. Yes, she's had everybody under the sun on that show, like, you know, Pepper Chile and Ruiz and everybody, all those other guys. It might just empower all his other guests. It's sort of, you know, like, we kind of cut to the chase, and everybody else is sort of in this question all the time. And
Yes.
Well, he pretends to be somebody who creates awareness when actually what he's doing is entertaining people on the dark part of himself.
It would create a demand, like, you would have to,
He wants listeners,
have an
and he appeals to the wrong part of themselves.
Well, Barb has the right answer. The answer is, had Alan Hutner ever discovered what this does, just imagine him like loving this and talking about how he's curing things on his show,
Yeah.
and it would just make it impossible for him to have those other people on his show. They wouldn't pay him anything, and he'd be out of business.
Show would have to be something else. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
For him to
But
stay,
maybe in his mind, and I'm just saying this, that's an ethic that he has to. Ethically, he should know who he's interviewing and what it's about, so he can present it and fully and respect it for his viewers to be able to make up their own minds and have an experience of it. But also, ethically, like the news, like CNN, like any of those people, they have to be responsible for why they're in business and how they're in business. So you needed to realize that before you gave that man $2,000.
oh sure,
I mean, that would have crossed my mind.
Right, but I remember when I was on his show, though, like, he already wanted it to be just another interesting, like a person promoting a book or a person, you know.
That's right.
He wasn't really looking for a solution. It was just like another interesting thing to talk about.
he disempowered. He disempowered you when you were on his show.
Yeah, I remember feeling disempowered.
He betrayed you.
Yeah.
His wife couldn't. She noticed it too, and she felt that she didn't know how to stand up to him. And she called me later. and wanted me to talk to him again like 6 months later. And I worked with him because he was having all these problems personally. He was running out of money. They were having all these stresses, and she was like, basically, will you do a session with us? And I did, and he was really in a state. He was like in a really bad state that day. And she just was flabbergasted. She didn't know what to do. She was like, please help me. It was like the wife saying, you know, please do something with this guy. You know, it's like that kind of attitude.
Well, when she knew what he was doing but didn't do anything about it, was she doing a betrayal?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it seemed like she didn't have the skill, or she didn't.
It's collusion.
And then it just,
Collusion. Yeah, collusion. It was more like collusion.
then she was still in it and not cleared it when she asked.
She abdicated her responsibility.
You were not going to get anywhere with that going on when she called you later.
She wanted me to like overtake him for her. She wanted me to show this problem in him.
Well, he came into the noodle bar, and I talked to him for less than 5 minutes, and I got what he was about.
Right.
He's a Philly guy.
So, well, I know. I just got that he is a wheeler dealer, and he talks about how he has his own money, and he makes a big point of the ethical part of his business. And I challenged him about how he can really, how actually he has the freedom to be able to allow people to present something that's very controversial. And he just was a shim-sham man. And I knew it. I knew it immediately. I wouldn't have given that, I wouldn't have lent him $1. But, so is he betraying you? I think he's pretty revealing. And he's proud of it, too.
Yeah.
He likes the sensationalism of his radio station.
Well, the point is, I think that we're doing a good job here of defining betrayal. Let's talk about what isn't betrayal. For example, let's say Jennifer's husband told her to disassociate herself from us, or he was going to take her children. So he was holding her children hostage, and Jennifer decided to disassociate herself from us because she was afraid of him. That would be weakness, right?
Yeah.
So who did Jennifer betray?
Her children.
Her children. Yes, thank you. Because she left her children with somebody who was holding them hostage. Now, let's use Franny as an example. Franny, can you speak to us through your wonderful
Yes.
magical telephone instrument? Okay. Suppose Greg came to you and said, I am getting out of this cult and I'm leaving you unless you come with me. I just don't want to be a part of the cure drive anymore. I want to be free. I want to do my own thing. What would you do?
Well, I actually thought that's what was happening, and I basically started to fight for myself, for what I have and what I want, and to be here.
Okay. Can you put that in simpler terms?
Like, what do you mean?
What do you mean?
Well, as I remember, you did sort of think something like that was happening. I don't know if it was exactly that, though. But whatever it was, one of the things... Don't come close here. You're creating an echo. Go away. Go away.
I wasn't on
Bye.
mute. I wasn't on mute.
Go away. Go away.
So I had an echo.
If I want you to talk, you can't talk if you're over here. All right. I thought that was what it seemed like was happening. And one of the things you said to me was, I'm not sure I really know Greg. Now, you've been with Greg 30 years. But you were still willing to say, well, maybe I've been wrong all this time, and Greg really isn't the person of the... Maybe Greg's character is not what I have assumed it to be for the last 30 years. And you were talking about leaving Greg. You were thinking you might have to leave Greg if Greg wasn't, a good person.
Yeah.
So this is an example of what a person of strength does in the same situation that Jennifer was in. A person of strength simply says no, Like, you were saying to me, Barb, the other day that Jennifer keeps telling you, like, I don't want to be with this guy, but she's still with him, right?
Yep.
Yeah. It's weakness. And not only will she just drift along and continue being with this guy, but she'll betray everybody around her to do it. She will actually fight to stay in this situation and destroy you, to stay in a situation that she says she wants to get out of.
She thinks she's protecting the children,
That's weakness.
even though he's really mean to her in front of the children.
That is weakness. See, the interesting thing I notice about Franny is there's a line that she simply doesn't allow people to cross, or that she doesn't cross. She'll make inquiries up to a point, and beyond that point, she just says no. She'll die before she will lose.
Fran. Yeah.
So that's what...
Luckily, Greg crossed the line the other way. God love him.
Yeah, I want to know how this turns out.
I don't know if it was luck.
to me.
No, I think that Greg was always a person of very high character. Greg is on the big screen right now, by the way. The thing is that, you just were going on whatever information you had at the time.
Me or Franny? Franny was.
Franny was.
Yeah, because we weren't talking very much. At all.
So, what we need to... Yeah, well, that's right. You just weren't talking enough. That's why I told you to talk every day, because I knew that'd fix it.
That's very helpful.
Other people's betrayals affect you because of you. If somebody betrays you, it's not going to hurt you unless you're weak. The thing that you have to watch out for is when people betray you, your weakness hooks you into them, sometimes for lifetimes, many lifetimes. See,
I feel that energy. I've had that experience in the jobs that I've been in, the places where I'm working, and I get these employees when they get fearful, and I actually feel kicked in the stomach. Like when they act, there's this black, it's like bile almost. There's a physical, there's a visceral quality to it, an energetic and visceral quality too, when someone lies to protect themselves. because of their weakness in front of you and involving you.
It does not have
And
to,
it happens.
it does not have to have any effect on you.
Doesn't have to.
No.
Well, I could do it in the moment when it's happening. I feel that sensation, and then I realize what I'm dealing with, and then I remove it.
Uh-huh.
And I can. I'd like to be immune to it altogether. This is a really good conversation because I think also this happened without my awareness of it. There are tons of people all over doing this to each other.
Sure. Absolutely.
I mean, every time somebody gossips or lies about me or something where I got it. Yeah. Yeah.
Sure. Now,
I feel it. I experience it.
if somebody betrays you and they have no effect on you, that means they basically disappear for you, because when someone betrays you, that's all there is to them at that point. There is nothing else. There's they have no other qualities than a betrayer. If you can understand what I'm saying, it's like they either exist as a betrayer or they don't exist at all. So
Why is that?
Well, betrayal is just an overriding quality.
Cancel out everything else they are.
It cancels everything they are.
So it's the whole strategy is that overrides the rest of their constitution.
Yes. Like Greg didn't actually betray Franny, nor Franny Greg.
And it doesn't require awareness either.
But let me say this. Like in Jen's relationship with her husband, Jen can never go back to her husband. He betrayed her.
She thinks you, she thinks you, she just really,
And so, it's over. The only way that she could ever go back to him is if he became a different person. And he would become a different person by apologizing profusely, sending the children to live with her, telling her, I realize what I've done, I feel terrible about myself, please help me make this right. That would not be the same guy she knows. He would be a different person if he did that. And this is why you so rarely ever see anybody doing anything like that. When people betray, usually that's the way they are for the rest of their lives. So David Rosenthal is an old associate of mine who betrayed me long ago, and nothing has ever changed. You know, it's funny because there was one of the people who hates me was writing on Facebook about what we're doing, sort of having a conversation with another one, and she was saying, well, nothing has changed then in the past 20 years. And I realized, like, she hit the nail on the head. She was so right. You know?
Well, kind of like what you're saying when you say that in the moment of betrayal, there is something that overrides everything else. And then the only thing you have left, if you succeeded, which is kind of a relative thing, then all you have is that identity, and you have to protect it. That's all you got. There's no tower anymore because you have no soul. You have nothing. You have this thing that you've done, are.
yeah.
I'm getting mad about it. I'm sorry.
But you know, here's an interesting little aside. Remember we were talking about Anagoria before we were testing, like I tested that she never betrayed me. Now this means that I can be in relationship with Anagoria if I want. She didn't betray me.
Mm-hmm.
She may have betrayed 7 billion people. See, the problem with the cure drive is that once somebody, it's really good and it's good for you, but once you know about it, it also carries, the knowledge carries this enormous responsibility. And part of that responsibility, with that responsibility comes the ability to betray everybody on earth by doing something that impedes their, access to it. Anything anybody does that impedes people's access is a betrayal of them. Even if they don't want it, don't know it exists, it doesn't matter. In fact, that's the whole point. Like, they don't want it and know it exists. So doing anything that holds them in that state, like you're really damaging them if you do that. Which means, like, you take somebody like Rhea Swift with her Immunix classes. Is Rhea Swift betraying anybody with her Immunix classes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, who's she betraying?
People she's teaching.
Huh?
That's
She's
students.
presenting it as, in some way. She's not really giving them Unix.
It's about her. So she can have students. Something like that.
You know, the truth about it is that we might test that she's betraying somebody, but we really don't have any idea of how she's betraying them. We don't know anything about what she's doing, so. But all we know is there's this person out there who claims to teach people Immunix. We never hear from any of them.
Well, the only one we heard from is Ron Brody. He never got past a certain point. To him, it was still a protocol, and that's, to me, how she was teaching it. And therefore, she was damaging people. It's like she's teaching along with the other things. You've got this, and you can mix this with this, and here's a nice little way to... Yeah, no, it's kind of a thing to do.
Are there big betrayals and small betrayals, or all betrayals just the same size?
I think they're big. I think they're big and small in the test.
I think they're all the same.
I think that all betrayals are the same, except the consequences might be different.
Yeah, and
Right.
it depends on if you're not affected by
The
it.
impact
Yeah, the impact.
changes.
So,
But it's still
The
betrayal, yeah.
Therefore, it
The
might
intent-
be that there are small ones and large ones, depending on the consequences.
Well, I think the consequences depend largely on the intent. When a betrayal is, oh my God, being a human being, and being bombarded by mending things all day long, it's almost like, if you're in survival mode, and those people, that's how they live from moment to moment, everything's a betrayal. It's like trying to get through high school without people ridiculing you and can you make it? This is existence for most human beings, and the few people who find a sense of freedom to express themselves as an original being, I don't know that many.
Just get survival.
So this is how it is,
Exactly. It's not shouting it out from, they're all in some sort of betrayal. I keep thinking about two things. One, like there's a betrayal of, like you said, inaction and then weakness. like, thinking about the Jennifer example, and also back when I was the one that David Rosenthal and those guys called when they were in that leave, and I was, weak. I was just like stunned. They were saying, well, this is our old staff, Rosella, and they called me, and they said, I just want to let you know we're not going to be there tomorrow at the meeting. And I said, what do you mean? And they said, well, we're leaving. And I was like stunned, and I was hurt, and I was scared. And they said, why didn't, they said, well, we all are going to go. We didn't call you to tell you because we knew that you weren't going to go with us. I said, I said, okay. But I didn't try to stop them. I almost didn't care because I already knew that they were in a way halfway there and halfway not, and halfway kind of dead weight and stuff. But I didn't say anything. I was just stunned. So did I betray also, or did I, what was my part? And then same with Jennifer, in her mind, she's protecting her children right now. I think she grabbed all of her kids and round them up and jump on an airplane and fly to America, and then leave their kids without a father. Or which one's a betrayal? Leaving them with a father who's kind of damaged and being there with them, or leaving them alone with him, or taking them away from him, or it's a lot of, these are tough questions. Some of it just that she rolled over, but okay, I'm gonna stop this out for a couple more years or whatever.
Let me ask you a question. I want you to test something. When they called and told you, you didn't call me and tell me.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So
you were in Hawaii. You were in Hawaii.
Did you betray me by not calling me and telling me? I had a phone.
That's what I'm asking. I mean, you were in Hawaii.
Well, so test the question. Everybody tested. Barb betray me by not calling me and telling me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Barb, what did you get?
Yes.
All right, so there's an example of a betrayal. Now, the consequences of that were not very large.
No, that's what I got when
It probably wouldn't have made any difference if you'd called me and told me. But
Yeah.
maybe a betrayal is a betrayal, and also maybe you clear betrayals by accessing them, and it doesn't matter how enormous the consequences were. That you access it. For example, let's all of us test this question. In a past life, have I ever done a betrayal that affected all of humanity and the entire course of human history?
Yeah. I would not yes.
Me too. I get yes.
Hey, I'm here trying to do no harm, first of all. Full knowledge of that.
I got yes.
And then hopefully correcting some things.
So who would I be to point the finger at Barb and say, oh, Barb, you're so terrible. You betrayed me. You didn't tell me that the idiots were leaving, I had to wait till the next day to find out.
Yeah, that's what I figured too. Looking at it in a funny way, I think, you're thinking, well,
Yeah.
great, I get mixed emotions about it. I was like, cool, fine.
Yeah, get fired one more night.
Yeah, I mean, they showed up at the meeting, but they just made their announcement, as a surprise to you, if it forewarned you, but what difference would it make? You probably wouldn't have showed up for the meeting. So I felt like they were testing me, I don't know why they even called me, it was like an attack.
Yeah, well,
They called you because they wanted to get some kind of betrayal of me out of you, and they did.
Yeah, I think that's true. They called me as a group, too. They were all on speakerphone.
They got you to betray me in some trivial way.
heard you or something.
I should have said to them goodbye and hung up.
Yeah, it was kind of traumatizing. Yeah.
Talk to you.
I really
Try.
Well, it's funny. Let me ask something. Sometimes, and I don't know if this is worse, I know that some people are actually attacking, and some people are actually just protecting themselves from attack, what they envision as attack or threat. Not that one is better than the other, it's still a loss of soul or a loss of something in the moment. But one, like Barb was talking about, I know I deliberately experienced as a deliberate thing. Even if the people weren't exactly sure of what they were doing, there was a collusion or an intent to attack.
Yeah.
And then there are other people who just say, leave me the fuck alone. I just don't want to be the nail on everything's a hammer. You know? And I don't know that one's better than the other. That's not what I'm trying to look at. It's just that one seems more lethal than the other to me. Especially since you've killed millions of people and all humanity.
Right.
You may have some experience of that. Non-action in that respect is actually appropriate. It's just itself, by the way.
When you think of what seems like littler things, like, let's say like an important person walks in here, which, seemed like it happened the other day, and like a person that could make a difference or had money or had influence or something, and I don't do anything with the person, they get their card or something, that's kind of a betrayal too. But it seems
that falls in that category of protecting to some degree, because you have to extend yourself and you don't feel like it for what reason? I mean, that's about protection. That's protecting your comfort zone. And that falls in survival. But then there's this thing of attack, which I've experienced. Like, people just want to get rid of me. They want to stop you. They want to stop you.
Well, I must say this is a very, very good extrapolation about betrayal. We're covering a lot of bases here. And another one that we need to cover is that you cannot interact with a betrayal in any way. Like, you can't accuse the person or try to make it right, or you can't do anything with it. Anything you do with it drags you into it. Betrayals are like black holes with a gravity field, and you just have to have a very high escape velocity. You just leave the area.
I'm good at that. It's really good. Is there any way? So in other words, when the betrayal is occurring, the only recourse you have is to evacuate.
That's it. The only recourse. Get away. Because the person, listen carefully, okay, wait, just listen. Imagine that you're in a spaceship and you're approaching a star. You're entering a solar system. You're approaching a star, and all of a sudden you realize that the star is beginning to collapse. And when it collapses, it's going to collapse into a black hole. And so, when somebody betrays you or anybody, they are destroying themselves. Jennifer destroyed herself.
But didn't her husband betray her too?
Yeah. It doesn't matter what somebody did to her. If she betrays, she's destroying herself. So your betrayal is always your fault. It's never the fault of this other guy who forced you into it. And so the person is collapsing, and they're going to have this enormous gravity field very quickly. In other words, when a star collapses, what happens is its gravity field expands, like the gravity field becomes, stronger and stronger. And it starts dragging everything into it. That's what black holes are. They drag things into them.
It's kind of like a survival. That's just a force of survival. In that moment, that is what's happening. It's like a person drowning. They have such strength. They will pull you in. They'll suck you down. And that's what the force is. It's a force of the weakest force of an alive, expanding force has a different feeling than one that's dying. Mm-hmm. It will take all of its force to stay in existence.
Looking back on Chrissy, Barb,
Yeah.
one thing I think about Chrissy is that when those people did that, Chrissy did not have enough of a distance from them. And over time, they dragged her with them.
Right. Sure. That's right. She ended up sort of aligning with what they were thinking or saying. Yeah, I didn't have that.
She's always trying to make it. She's always trying to make it.
Well, she had proclivities and weaknesses of herself that she went along with.
She wanted them to like her.
That I don't know whether she was really betraying him. I thought she really was. I don't know. But to me, it's her particular things where she was fucked up.
Well, it's really interesting when you've betrayed yourself and you're looking at the so-called enemy, the one you're attacking. What you want to do is you want to attack with a vengeance because you're attacking yourself. You're seeing, reflecting back your weakness. That person is just an element in this whole thing.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I know when I betray someone, I loathe myself and I've made them wrong.
Right.
Knowing I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that how it works?
There's
Sure.
something you wrote in that lesson like that.
Yeah.
Betrayal turns up to anybody else. They get over them. We carry with us forever until we do this kind of activity. They get over it. They just say, oh, that's just the way you are. Having betrayed someone who compromises your immune system makes you vulnerable to a pathology called conditions. And I've experienced that. I just know I'm in some state. It's really being on the dark side. And people get stuck like that. And they live the rest of their life like that without clearing up something. Maybe on their deathbed they might say, they're on the gurney having, being put to death. And you go, oh, I'm
look
sorry.
look at all the compensating that's happening. This is the first I've heard of Jennifer, and I'm not judging her, I'm just observing the everybody getting set up. Look how many people are set up in this. It's protecting the betrayal. It's just enormous. That's all you can do with the betrayal.
Well,
Protect your having done it to begin with until you clear it, if you can. And you're saying, you can't. So you can't, as a perpetrator, one has to clear that. But they have to be aware of the fact that they've done it and courageous enough when they weren't in the beginning, to begin with, they have to be courageous enough to remove it. See it and remove it and take responsibility for it. Otherwise, it remains there for everyone.
The awareness that we've betrayed someone is catastrophic.
Compounded over and over and over again.
Oh wait, whoops! I'm on mute. Oh dear. The awareness that we've betrayed someone is catastrophic. And the only thing, if we can make the betrayal right, then it's not so catastrophic. But it's just something, we can fix. Or if we can simply say, okay, I did this betrayal, it was like 500 years ago, that was a past life. I messed everything up, so this lifetime is messed up because of that, because I changed reality, and I'm now here in this reality. But I did it, I know I did it, and I will go now and sin no more, as Jesus said. And then, it's not so bad. But to just know you betrayed someone without making it right or repenting is catastrophic. And this is why people have to keep proving that they were doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And see, Barb is over there, like Jennifer has been trying to get Barb to agree with her about this. And so Barb is over in this meeting, right? A few minutes ago, Barb, you were saying, but, wouldn't she be betraying her children if she did da-da-da, and they'd be without a father and all this? And this is what Jennifer wants. Like she wants you to make these kinds of arguments so that it's not really a betrayal, because,
she's suffering. She's suffering. They think that if I'm suffering enough, then the betrayal will be justified in some way or something.
Yeah.
And then people go on life suffering and then get sick, and then that crap happens. So it's like on and on and on. Either attacking themselves or attacking someone else because of this unclear.
Barb and I were discussing that thing about when you were with Jennifer and you didn't make any overtures and all that stuff. That was probably a very helpful thing that you did.
It was probably healthy. Yeah, the last thing in the world you would ever want to do is have sex with somebody like Jennifer. You would be absorbing karma from her.
This is what I've always seen about Barb, is that she really is, you really are good, and you have good instincts.
You intuitively do the right thing, generally.
Yeah.
I can tell you another story that I
You grew up right, you were...
My mother thanks you for...
You had good parents. Yeah, maybe that's a large part of it.
She's just always...
Yeah.
So, well, you knew there's something to say about the whole thing.
Something's out, you can sense it.
And that made you hesitant, and the hesitation was a good warning for you.
Yeah.
I mean, even though it felt bad and all that stuff, it just seemed like it shattered everything.
Yeah, okay. So,
I want to ask if there isn't, in fact, once you have evacuated, meaning disengaged, if there isn't something that can be done to help the person who's entangled, to remove the entanglement. Because at that point they're entangled and enmeshed in something self-constructed that it is very hard to get out of on your own.
No. You can't help anybody.
Okay.
Probably you can't help them.
I don't think you can help them. I mean, if
you have to go. You just get away, and the star collapses. That's how it goes.
Alright.
You hit your thrusters and go into hyperspace. And when you come out of hyperspace, you're in a different galaxy. And you have no contact or communication with the other thing.
And we just do no-fear prayer and clear all that shit.
Well,
that's what we do.
I'll tell you another little story. Franny was telling me that, one of those people who betrayed us was Stephen Pinto. And he, in trying to validate his action, even went so far as to slash the tires on our car. Anyway, it's, 25 years later, and Franny is in Sarasota shopping at Whole Foods, and she looks up from what she's looking at, and there's Stephen Pinto.
What's a 7-Eleven?
Oh, it's 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
And Franny said to him, you did good work for us, and it was nice to have you on my team.
Wow.
And I think that was really, the extending of the olive branch, to the way Caesar kept saying to Brutus, it's fine, I forgive whatever you've done.
I did forgive.
Yeah, forgiveness. Forgiveness is powerful because they can't forgive themselves. That's what's at stake. That's where it's stuck. You can't forgive yourself when you betrayed someone because you betrayed yourself first.
Well, they made
when you betray.
They made it worse about...
Actually, you can forgive yourself. You simply see your betrayal
Own up to it.
do whatever you can to make it right, and from there you just leave it at that. And it's over.
At least you don't give them fuel where they can react to you because you're doing something dysfunctional towards them.
No, but Stephen Pinto could have gone off and said, oh, well, Strand's gotten fat. He could still be in the same thing, but I figured it's better if I just tell him. I mean, he looked at me with, like, his eyes kind of lit up. He said, yeah, I did do a good job. Like, somehow he got to the other side a little bit of it.
When I think of when I've forgiven someone, truly forgiven, it's not even you forgive them. Forgiveness is the experience you have of yourself and them in the moment. Forgiveness that they did what they did, that you experienced what you experienced, and it wipes the slate clean. It just literally does that. It disappears it in some way, completely. It does do that. It's not a small deed. It doesn't erase it either.
No, but I suppose that's what they say, like, turn the other cheek, You don't want to compound the thing.
Well, this is the way to evacuate.
No, well...
You just evacuate by saying, hey, look, that's your business, what you did, and...
I was thinking about...
No harm done, you didn't hurt me.
I would feel so responsible. Like if something like this happened last night at the meeting, but to backtrack with the staff, like I remember thinking that it was my fault to do that. Like that I had been at that beautiful house in Florida with you guys, and we were having so much fun, and I was, having a great life, and we were spending money, and I thought they got mad, or I left New York, and I thought they were bored of, but now that I think of it, I was still registering people and selling courses from Florida.
Yeah.
If they weren't really performing. And I think that they were scared that we were, running the company into the ground, but they just didn't hang out. Like the only difference between me and them was I just hung on by a thread. It wasn't like I was a perfect person or did everything perfectly, but I just hung on, And then,
what? I was going to say this, and it's interesting because what's kind of occurring for me is that the whole idea of betrayal, that someone is innocent and someone is not. And, like Barbara's alluding to, it's like, wait a minute, anytime I've been betrayed, I was there as opposed to someone else.
That seems like the betrayal is, like I thought what we were doing together was we just stuck through everything and just worked it out, Like they were...
Well, betrayal to me, I'm thinking now, the betrayal had a lot to do with the fact that I flirted the guy that you paid all that money to, Alan, whatever the hell his name is. I mean, you just were not aware of what you needed to be aware of. Did he betray? Was he just being the animal that he is? Yes. Did he betray you? Yes, that's what he does. That's how people exist. In a state of betraying to stay alive, or get one over, or get more. Now, I don't know. Am I being betrayed? You know what I mean? I mean, am I being betrayed? I'm just not aware enough.
Well, one other thing is that when...
They're doing exactly what they're doing. Jennifer's husband's doing exactly what you expected of him.
You can't...
Seeing what's different about Jennifer's husband, like she could just, you know, she caved in.
Why would he be different? He'd be betraying himself if he was a saint. Sure, darling, do whatever you want. You know, I mean, seriously, we're looking at this, and maybe people experience a betrayal of themselves, this little identity they have. I'm doing the right thing. She's betraying herself by not taking care of her children. That's her job.
Right.
To take care of her children. Yeah.
Sure.
Well, she thinks that's why she's
A betrayal. No, I'm not saying. I mean, I'm oversimplifying this. You can't reduce it. It's complicated. But have I been betrayed? I think yes. But I was part of it.
Well, you have to realize that...
I was...
What you were saying, Barb? Barb was just saying that she thinks...
You're on mute, Barb.
Oh, sorry. Barb was just saying that she thinks, she's taking care of her children.
Yeah,
and the thing is, that's weak. See, that's weakness. People usually betray out of weakness.
Yeah, right. It's the same thing. It's not action out of weakness. It's not a moral thing. It's not even a, still, yeah, it's that. Betrayal is just based on non-action.
I mean, mothers think they're helping their daughters by letting the kid's father molest them.
Right. Exactly.
It's weakness. It's just weakness. Well, we have plenty of good examples for our topic class.
I've had a lot of betrayals in my life.
It's like people, this is one of my favorites next to the virtual reality one. This is like people create virtual reality, which is another betrayal. They can't handle the one they've got, they're going to make another one up. But let's do something else here.
That's why it's hard to compare, though, because I've had a lot of betrayals in my life, too. There's other kinds of betrayals, like having affairs, or lying, cheating, stealing, and all of these kind of things.
Yep.
I mean, I find it very difficult. I find it very difficult to actually absolutely tell the truth all the time. Absolutely all the time. I betray myself all day long.
Well, I
I gotta get stuff done. I mean, I'm looking at this, I have to go, but I'm gonna look at this more about how I operate, that affects the things I really believe in, and how I diffuse my ability to be able to do some of these things because of the other stuff I'm doing to protect my right to express myself on the, like you talk about the cure drugs. I don't know why everybody's dropping, but I don't know all the details. Besides, I'd like to call you later if I could. Because I really need to talk to you. Yeah.
And I was thinking about that last night. We need to start working together more.
I know. I got my shirt here and ready. I want to. Well, I'll call you tonight. I need to catch up and know what's going on, and I want to figure out how to ask questions about the Twitter.
Karen, hello.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
If you were on Twitter, you wouldn't need to catch up.
I know.
So I'll tell you what. When you go over to see Barb later, make your meeting with Barb about getting on and learning how to use Twitter.
She showed me briefly, but I didn't.
Not briefly. Actually sit there and use it for an hour with her helping you. You know, Barb can do her other things.
We actually didn't have to do it with my son. I have to go to cricket. I actually have to go there, and I have not been had a chance to do it. And I'm going to go on Thursday, but I will do it on my computer when I'm home. You know, I can do that.
Why can't Barb show you on cricket?
I know. We had problems. We just had, on the smartphone. I think we just had this problem with it. We couldn't figure it out.
Would that be Jiminy Cricket?
Yeah.
What kind of bug is Jiminy Cricket?
he's a grasshopper. Cricket. What kind of name is Jiminy? I got the cricket part.
I never heard of that name until Walt Disney made it popular.
Like the Geico commercials, the farmer's a bad speller. Cow. C-O-W-E-I-E-I-O.
Well, we're coming to the completion of our meeting. There's something I wanted to...
One other question. What do you do with the whole realm of perpetrators? Everybody's a perpetrator. Now what?
Well, you try to, be with people. Try to be with people who aren't big, like who don't do frequent betrayals. Like Franny and Greg don't betray people very often, and it's nice to be around them, you know.
And you try to have their betrayals not be anything to do with you.
Yeah, right.
I mean, if they come through for you and maybe you're like, I don't know, like, who's the guy who helped us move down here and then died early?
You might be able to help people with their betrayals if they're not of you. So you can, find people and help them do, cure things with people, Karen.
Trauma removal. One of the first weekends that I ever spent doing this work was with Barb and a woman that I brought named Tina and somebody else, and it was amazing. And I had my sister, I actually paid for my sister, and she didn't come. And that doesn't surprise me because she doesn't want to get rid of her trauma and her betrayal. And the traumas are a lot about betrayal.
Well, I wanted to tell something.
Trauma removal.
I wanted to tell Ross something before we stop. Ross, remember the role play we did where you started talking to the person about videotaping?
Yes.
Well, if you notice, I took videotaping off part 1.
Yes, I noticed.
And I just wanted you to know that you are the co-creator of the outline, and that was your result.
Baya, can I ask a question that has nothing to do with betrayal? It has something to do with the outline.
Sure, go ahead.
At a certain point, I was rehearsing the outline with friends, and she offered me $10. We were on Skype, okay? If it happens in reality, how can I accept $10 on Skype?
Franny, could you explain that to her?
Well, you have a PayPal account, so you can just have her send you the $10. Somebody talking to me?
No, Barb, we're talking
No, we're talking to Rob.
Would I tell the person?
I can't hear you, Rob.
Barb, go on mute, I think you can. Barb.
Would they just tell the person to get in touch with Greg?
No, you say, do you have a PayPal account? And they say yes or no, and you say, get a PayPal account and send me $10 through PayPal.
You will see on your PayPal account at the top, it says send money. And someone can click on that and send money.
I know, yes. But I thought the $10 were for the Cure Drive.
Well, what you do is you can give it to the Cure Drive, but they're supporting the Cure Drive. But it's better to send it to you, because then you say, okay, I got it. I'm going to give it, it's going
See,
to the Cure Drive.
actually, they're supporting you,
Yeah,
and you can ask people for money and use it for your ministry.
Okay.
You know, like,
Because I-
one of the things that you should do for your ministry is get yourself a smartphone.
I know,
And another thing, and so people can pay for that. You know,
yeah.
have people give you money, and also ministers get their living quarters and their food and everything in their car. So, your ministry is supposed to pay for all of that.
Okay.
Well, actually, she was playing me
Same
with her friend.
difference.
Yes, I was planning. I'm trying to
Yeah, so you work, but basically you should just have a note somewhere who to contact to send money. If you want to have it sent to Cure Drive, then you just have to know.
No, she should have it sent to her.
That's what I think, and then you can give us money if you want.
Okay.
Well, first you should get yourself, pay your rent and get a smartphone, and it'd be nice. Wouldn't it be nice if you could spend all your time helping people instead of just part-time? If people will pay you, you could do that.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
So that's an order of business is to have people pay you.
Okay. Thank you.
You're hired. Welcome to the ministry.
Thank you.
Now raise money to support yourself.
You're certainly qualified to do it.
Okay.
Ross, I don't know what I would do without you. You have really made all the difference for Franny and Greg, I will say.
Thank you very much. You are too kind.
Yeah, it's been really great to just have.
It's very easy to work like people with Franny and Greg, like Franny and Greg.
Well, you saved my life, Ross, because I couldn't have done with them what you did with them. I'm just too close to them.
I know, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Well, and with that, I think that is there anything else anybody wants to say about Betrayal, or do you guys all feel complete?
I just feel bad now because I think any betrayal that's ever happened in my space, including the two examples at least, where I feel like I did just as much stuff that was that like in those people's minds they rationalized it based on things that I did that were betrayals too.
Or maybe you didn't betray them at all, but certainly nothing ever justified what they did. There is.
That's what I was saying. The only difference is I was ready to stand and clear up whatever it was. Not really. I just their toys and left. Including Jennifer. Yeah, okay, I see.
Well, Barb, that's why I'm with you and not with them.
I am with you. I thought there was something more to learn, and that there's always forgiveness, but they didn't stay long enough to find that out. And I've certainly betrayed in the traditional sense. Most of my betrayals are of weakness or fear, or but I rarely betray. Like what Karen was saying, I don't hold back what I think and all that kind of stuff very much.
Just watch those advices that they're always giving you that you take so to heart, that they may not have your best interest at heart.
Don't take advice from people who betray people.
Alright. Keep moving forward. Alrighty.
Well, guys, thank you all very much for a wonderful class. This is super. This is a classic, and it will be on our website, and people can learn from it. And you,
5-star movie.
it's a
Okay.
5-star movie. You've all made a big contribution to it.
I only ate two big raw chocolate things during the movie, making of this movie.
All right.
Not too bad. Okay, see you guys later. Thank you.
See ya.
Thank you.
This is the Cure Drive Cult homepage. You can see we tally our cures. That's the tally there, 132,000. You report your cures here, right here. That's the link to report your cure. Okay, this is the movie that people start with generally. And there's a lot of people actually curing things on camera in this movie and demonstrating exactly how to do it. It's 4.5 hours. So you would be able to probably understand and know what these people are doing by watching this. We are a cult because we're all over the world. Maybe one person in a town, just one little guy who cures things in a whole town full of people who don't, whose spouse thinks she's crazy because she's curing things and he doesn't. You know, she doesn't get sick and he's down with the flu for 5 days and he still thinks she's crazy. We've had spouses die. So this person is demonstrating curing herpes in this movie, the one you're watching right there. And it goes on like that. Now, these are the people here. You see this black area here? This is our Twitter feed. These are the people you want to talk to. And what you do, see, it says follow Cure Drive. And that's what you do. You click on that, and then you pick somebody. Anybody in here will be happy to help you. So you write to people that you see in here. And there's all these people all talking about what they're curing. So that's what you do. You pick somebody that you know that seems like a kindred spirit, presumably, and you write to them. See that picture of the cat there? That's Rosella. She's one of the people whose spouse died. He was a very great guy. He just thought it was nuts. He never did it. Died of cancer. Not too long ago, about 2 months ago. So anyway, you just, you write to somebody and, tell them what you are trying to do. People are always asking about negative medical tests. Here, let me show you. This is a voicemail message. You should probably, if you're interested in getting a negative medical test on, let's say, herpes, she got negative medical tests and both kinds of herpes. And she left me this message when she got her letter from the, hospital, I guess. She was in New Zealand. So her tests are free. Now, of course, there's an enormous website behind this homepage. I guess you're probably guessing, right? And if you see these movies, these are all people demonstrating curing various diseases. This is these people chose to contribute their cures to your effort to cure yourself. There are around, I guess, over 800 movies. And some of them are linked to this page. So if you click on any one of these pictures, it will go to a movie and that movie will start playing. So join the cult. Your friends will be worried about you. You're in a cult, they'll be worried. You have the crazy idea that you can cure medically incurable diseases. They're going to be very concerned. Especially if you're battling cancer. Your friends will be worried, and that's a good thing. You will cure things. And that is also a very good thing. You will begin curing things the moment you join, because that's how you join. You cure something. When you cure something, you're in the cult. If you want to get out of the cult, just stop curing things. You won't be in the cult anymore. Easy to exit. Your easy exit strategy. And who knows? You may even cure the medically incurable disease that you came in here to cure. A lot of us did. That's me there in the movie holding forth on how to cure things. I'm on the cure team. That's what I did. I cured a medically incurable disease. Two of them actually. So I cured 2 kinds of herpes. It was about 4 months after I started doing this that I actually discovered, I'm the person who discovered that you could cure physical diseases. July 1993, my 20th anniversary just passed. I haven't had an outbreak of herpes for 20 years, and before that, I was having outbreaks for 28 years. I got herpes in 1965. The end of the year. 28 years of outbreaks followed by 20 years of no outbreaks. That's how bad it can be and how good it can be if you let it be good. So, take the courageous step that almost everyone you know will advise you not to take. Join the cult. When you're in the cult, your friends will get sick and you will get well. Your friends will give sympathy and you will give cure. And you'll know that you don't even need to take a vitamin pill to cure something. You can just cure it with nothing. Just with you. What can you contribute? What will your contribution be? This woman is curing a flu right on camera. She came in with full symptoms and they were all gone in 15 minutes. You can see it happen. Flu is an incurable viral-based disease. It's medically incurable. She cures it right in front of you. We eagerly await your contribution. And here they are, eagerly awaiting your contribution. And anything that you say to any of these people will probably be a contribution of some kind.